Hi, my name is Greg Oleksy, and CEO, also and founder of Axence. We are a Polish and US-based company in the field of endpoint management and security. And let me tell you a few words about our product. It's a solution that consists of 5 different modules. It's a network for monitoring all IT and infrastructure. It's also user monitoring, inventory of software and hardware, help desk, web-based help desk with remote access to all computers, and data guard, which protects company files by allowing you to manage how users can access pen drives and other removable media. And we have more than 2,000 customers. We have also partners in the field of license and security auditing. So we have quite good experience with security, especially at the user level. And this is the subject of my presentation. I would like to tell you about that level of security, because probably all of you have, as David has said, antivirus software, you have firewalls, probably quite advanced ones, but right now in current days it's not enough, because if you have only technical means to provide security, then you miss one very important point. If you will take, probably some of you already know that most of loss that companies have are because of internal threats, because of what users are doing, actually. Many of those also are unintentional ones. So users are doing different things without the intention of doing any harm, but finally it's something harmful. So it's not enough in current time to just have technical things to protect company, but we need something more. We need something to protect our companies from what users can do intentionally or unintentionally. And let me go through some threats, some problems that you can have also at your companies. So let's start with threats. I'm sorry. Okay, so well, here we can see some threats. I listed some very important things that can happen. You can read that, so I'll be not reading that. But instead of that, I would like to tell you about some examples. Let's start with something very well popular in maybe 2 years ago. That was also quite funny story about the programmer in one of the American companies. And that programmer actually that was quite good programmer. He was several times a programmer of the month even. And in that company, there was auditing once, security auditing, and external auditors found out that on the router there is a VPN connection to some of the internal computers. Finally, after some investigation, they could find out that there is a connection to China. With one of the computers, actually the computer of this programmer. They did some more investigation and they find out that this particular programmer just hired Chinese guy to do his work for 20 or 25% of his salary. So the work has been done. The company should be happy. Really? Do you think so? Well, actually, there was one problem. Some Chinese guy had full access to American company internal network. Would you like to have such situation in your company? Have some China company or a person you even don't know full access to your network? There was another thing related to that, but the guy, the programmer, has to send the token because he was able to log into the internal network with a physical token. So he just put it in the envelope and FedEx it to China to allow the Chinese programmer to access the network. So the intention of the programmer, well, probably was not to do any harm. The work was done, but that was not actually according to any IT rules and any security rules. Now, think about not so sophisticated example. Let's see, very often we have quite a lot of work, right? So what do? We just put pen drive into the computer, we copy the files, and, well, I'll do this work for my company at home. Is that really good for a company? In most cases, probably yes, because, well, they don't have to pay for overtime. But what if there are very important files on the pen drive and you lose this pen drive, or the employee lose this pen drive at the bus or whatever? Then sometimes from time to time you can read in newspapers about such stories, right? So you may say that, well, I lose this pen drive, but no one will care what's on this pen drive. It's not quite true, because even sometimes the person who will find the hard drive, pen drive, or whatever will find out, for example, a list of customers or a list of, if that's the government institution, the list of not customers in that case, but the beneficiaries, the person benefiting from some service, public service. And then they can just send it to the newspaper and say, look, what happens with our data, which should be protected. So it's not very, very rare. It just happens, and you probably don't want your company to be in such situation, right? So let's see some other dangerous user behavior. As you may see in these presentations, there are lots of things that can happen which you don't want in your company. Okay, just checking how much time I have. So let's start with the most often used thing, internet access. First of all, well, there is quite many malicious sites and emails. Probably you know that. Probably you sometimes from time to time even receive those emails, like email saying, hi, your PayPal account has something wrong with it, you have to verify it. And many, many other things like that. Those emails and sites can do different things to computers in your company. They can turn the computer into zombie computer. Such computers can be used for two purposes. The first is obvious, getting access to internal network, and also to spy on the employee to get his personal bank account information, also passwords, or company bank account information. And that really happens from time to time. People lose their money from bank accounts because of those emails and sites. Also, there is another issue which is not so obvious but happens very often. Those are zombie computers used for attacks. Usually this is DDoS attack, and those zombie computer farms are used by hackers to do different attacks. And actually, this is some kind of also business, because you could actually order some attack. You don't like any company, you can order attack to break their server down. So it's very important to have the protection from those threats. Of course, we have antivirus software, but as we know, antivirus will not protect anyone 100%. There is always some fight between producers of sites and software, malicious software, and antivirus producers. It's not possible to protect from every such site, because they're coming new and new every day. And the makers of those sites and software, they of course know, they are experts with antivirus software. So they know how to overcome this protection better or worse, but sometimes they're really good, and they're a step ahead of the antivirus producers. And another thing, it's somehow related to internet usage. Illegal content. It's a video, music, and software. And also probably know that quite many of illegal software is already infected with the viruses. So if any employee will download any software and install it, it's very high chance of also having some kind of virus. And of course, antivirus software can discover this virus, but not 100%, not every case. So you may have a problem also. So it's very, very important to actually teach your employees, co-workers about those threats, because if people know about them, they will probably think about what they're doing, if this is safe or not. The last thing I said was about the software. Of course, the one side is malicious software, viruses, and so on. But there is also the other side. I'll not be going deeply into this subject because you had a presentation about the legality of software, about threats, about paying penalties, and so on. And what is very important, that those penalties will be paid not by employees, but by the company. And also the person, the management of the company, can be personally responsible of those crime. And one more thing, if you are in the IT department and you have a knowledge about such things, you also may be personally responsible. Let's see the situation that the boss will tell you, install Microsoft Office on this computer because we need it right now, and then we'll buy a license. So of course the license probably will be bought, unless you will just forget it, and the management definitely will forget it. So, but anyway, in that situation, this is the crime. So in such cases, it's good to just well, at least think about the potential consequences. Okay, so another threat. Bring your own device. In most cases, in our part of the world, it's still not a problem, but it may be a problem because, well, in most cases, employees in our companies in Lithuania or Poland are not using our own software or hardware and software, or laptops, cell phones for company purposes, right? But some people want to use cell phones or even tablets or laptops at work. And what do they do quite often? Because they, well, so right now they quite often have some kind of internet access in the cell phone, but why should we lose our internet usage in the cell phone if the company actually has internet access? So what they are doing, they are bringing their own access points because quite many people has at least one spare access point at home because, well, they signed up for internet several times. They usually got those free routers from telecom companies, and they sometimes have just spare not used access point, router with access point at home. So they just bring it at to company to work, and they just plug it to the network, and they have Wi-Fi. And of course, you may imagine that some part of those access points are well protected with good configuration, good protocols, but some of them are just totally open. And with that, you just have your, you may have the best firewall in the world, but what's the point if anybody can connect to your network from actually inside? So that's related also to social attacks because one of our partners in Poland, they do legality checks, but also what they do is social proofing, social security proofing. So they have one guy to do that. He just wears the suit of the telecom worker. It's in Poland, it's Telekomunikacja Polska. And what he's doing, he just comes with this blue suit with the logo of right now it's orange actually. But he comes to the company, for example, to the accounting, and he says, I'm here to do some work. And sometimes it's just connecting some device or exchanging some devices, things like that. And in almost 100% cases, he can just plug in his own access point with no questions asked. The people see there is a guy with a suit, some kind of company dress, and they allow to do very many things. Even sometimes still, because there are jokes about that, about getting passwords, even sometimes it works still right now. If you ask, if you are sued in some company or telecom or whatever dress, and you ask people about getting access to internal IT resources, you may get it. It's really quite often it happens. It really happens. So it's not only jokes. It may really happen. So all those things from 20 or 30 years ago about this Mitnick hacker, you probably heard about those guys who just went to the company and looked for stickers, those paper stickers at the screen with passwords and so on. So it still works, really. And quite often, I can tell you about one example. That guy doing those social proofs just went to the company, to the actually accounting, asked about email addresses and passwords, because he told that we'll be doing upgrade, we'll do better internet access with better emails and so on, and he got those email addresses with passwords. In most cases, the management even and IT department even will not know about this. In that case, IT guys get the knowledge about this situation, but not because any person in this case was aware of the security threat. That was totally different, because one of those women at the accounting was just missed. He didn't notice that person, and he went to IT guys to complain that she will not have the upgrade and why she was not included in this upgrade. And that was the reason IT guys get the knowledge about this the situation. So you may see that the knowledge of users is not really very high. I have also some more technical threats. This is something you may think, no, the normal users of computers are not able to do such things. And you're wrong, because you may find quite many tutorials in the internet, even in YouTube, how to do different very complex tasks. For example, well, anonymization is one of those which are really easy to do, right? And you can find the YouTube tutorial to do that. It's quite easy, and with that, if you have firewall checking of what users are doing, you will not get any information from this particular computer, because if the person will use any kind of anonymization, you will just see in the first case hide my ass.com with some longer parameters in that, but you will not have any knowledge what really this user was accessing. Tunneling. It's a case I was described about the US programmer getting a Chinese guy to do the work. Well, that was programmer, you may think, and only programmer can do this tunneling thing. But you would not be right, because it's really easy to do that. You can see tutorials and actually do that. There is free software to do those things. Very good tutorials. It's not really complicated to get actually full connection, full access from home to company network. And it's not really easy to see that, because how often do you do auditing on the router if you have any VPN connection? When did you last did this? So you will not see that. And even sometimes you may have intentional usage of the computer at the company for attacks. The last thing is about that. Tor system is a very advanced anonymization service, very easy to use. You just download a very simple software, it installs, and then you get full anonymization. Every packet will go different way, and there are thousands of servers around the world used for that purpose. And really, every packet there is sent from the computer will go through maybe 10 different servers, and every packet will go different way. So it's not possible to know actually the origin of this packet. And that, well, because you may say, well, who would use that? And for what? A few years ago, maybe you remember the problem with ACTA regulation. During that time, there was very many attacks of governmental servers. And those attacks were partly did by just normal people. They just downloaded the store and used this for those attacks. So that really happens. So, well, if we have one more thing, because before I will go to this monitoring thing, there is another thing you may also encounter quite often. Right now, many employees just have laptop, right? Not the regular computer, but laptop. So they quite often take this laptop to home, right? And well, you may think that people know about they should not install anything downloaded from internet or anything illegal. Well, usually most of employees would know that. But let's see, sometimes if you have a child, sometimes there is a situation you would really do everything to have just a few minutes for yourself. So you just want the child to do something else. So and sometimes this something else is just giving the child computer. Okay, have a computer, go browsing internet. And in such case, this child may download something and install, and the employee would even don't know about that. So in that case, the employee will not know, and of course the company either will not have a knowledge about there is something installed on this computer. So as you may find here, training of employees is crucial. It's not enough to have antivirus, firewall, or any kind of technical protection. You should really think of the whole security in the company as two parts. The first one is technical part. It's software, hardware, and so on. But with rising importance right now, it's a user part. And you should think about providing specific knowledge to employees, to users. Because very often they just don't know what they should do and the ways some things should be done and the things they should not do. It's very specific knowledge, and people actually don't have any resources to learn about those threats, about things they should not do. So actually the companies should provide this knowledge to people if you want to have really security. And there is another thing which should be also considered. It's monitoring user behavior to find out those things I mentioned before. Well, there is a controversial thing about the user monitoring, because usually people don't want to be monitored, of course, and quite often there is information in the newspapers about user monitoring, but in most cases it's from the work efficiency perspective. So companies say, we need to monitor people because they are using Facebook for 8 hours or maybe 6 hours, and then 2 hours for some other reading articles and whatever. So they are saying we need to monitor users because otherwise they would be not working, which is not true. Because if there is a problem with the organization, work organization within the company, definitely technical things will not help, right? It's not possible to solve organizational problems with technical means. So my opinion even as a producer of network and user monitoring solution, is that should not be used for just work efficiency. The most important thing here is user behavioral monitoring, to see threats, to solve them, and to provide better security for a company. So, as I said, technical things like antivirus, firewalls, and so on are not enough. And also, if we'll take a look at the legality of software, if we don't have specific tool to check it every day, you will not have any knowledge about those threats, about the fact you have some specific illegal software, because it's not possible to do software audit every day without having specific tool, which will just notify you when anything new will be installed, copied, or used on any of your computers. So the reason to use such behavioral monitoring is, one, to make sure that users are doing things according to some policy you would like to have in your company, and on the other side, you would like to have the notification if anything happens. If, for example, if the user will start copying very many files to pen drive or hard drive, because, well, in some cases, I could hear something probably people should not tell me about security problems at very high level. That was people that just copied all files of the company and started competitive company. I've heard that quite many times. So, well, this is something any company would probably not want to happen, because it's not easy to prove that. How you could prove that any person actually started this competitive company with the files stolen from your company? If you don't have any tool also to monitor user behavior, you can't. Of course, you may do different law actions and so on, but will you be sure that you will win? Probably not. Okay, so I would like to tell you a few things about user monitoring, so you would have a general knowledge. There are three types of user monitoring: is preventive, permanent, and incidental. What we are talking about is preventive, because permanent monitoring, so monitoring all the time and checking what is user doing by any other human, is not allowed in most of countries. And incidental monitoring is just in case you have good, well-documented knowledge that some employee is doing something against rules of the company or doing any crime. So what we do is preventing monitoring. The best way to do that is fully automatic monitoring, content categorization, applying some rules. And with that kind of monitoring, you actually don't check anybody. You don't do this personally. You just have the tool which does all the job, and if something suspicious happens, then you get a notification. You have to check this. So for preventing user monitoring purposes of doing that, you can see here, of course, work efficiency is one of those, but as I said, not the most important. And accordance to company and IT rules, enforcing security policy. And I believe that those 2 points here are the most important. Not work efficiency, but that is a way to improve security at user level. There is one thing you should remember, that in most countries also, private data is protected by law. So you should not, for example, take a look at private emails, even if people, employees have information that they cannot use company email for private purposes, because they can receive some private emails, and the person sending, for example, wife sending email to husband, did not sign anything, so she can do that, but you can't look at this private information, private communication. So you should remember that well, it's one thing that you should also think of is protection of private personal data. But of course, if you have rules in your company preventing people from having private communication or data, or like photos from yeah, I don't know, vacation, and if you have rules preventing that, then you can have the procedure in your company with some well, then that may be also even a reason to fire such person not acting according to IT rules and security rules. But other than that, please remember that private data is protected usually by law, and in many cases it's even by constitution. So, well, in incidental monitoring, as I said, is a suspicion, but well documented. It's not like I have this feeling that someone is doing something wrong. Well, there are some employer rights for user monitoring, but also please remember that there are, in our countries, in Poland and Lithuania, there are no strict rules for that. There is no strict law. In Germany, they have law, very specific law, what you can do, how you can monitor users, and so on and so on. But here, it's still not available. So it's just general rules in regulations that you should just follow. One interesting thing, it's a desktop preview and remote access to computers. In those things, in this case, you should also remember about protection of not only private information, but also about sensitive company information. So, because of that reason, if you have any tool to get remote access to computers, please remember that users should be able to reject the connection. Because sometimes they have, for example, in accounting, they may have financial information or the salary information, and those information should be also protected. That's also security. So IT department, not in every case should have full access to all information, and that may be the case. Having remote access to all computers without the ability of rejecting those connections is also against some security rules. Okay, so yeah, we have just a few minutes left. So I would like to also tell about a few words about procedures and documentation, because it's very important also. So having all those monitoring for software changes, user behavior monitoring, user monitoring, and so on. So as I said, it's very important to have training for employees, and also creating specific procedures, how they can work with IT infrastructures, with computers, with software, with all resources you provide to your employees. that procedures should be defined very well. They should be written, and there should be documentation for that for employees. And then you should do also trainings, because if you just tell users, "Hi, you will be monitored," well, usually they will try think about what they're doing. So quite often the internet connection usage will drop, printing will drop, but it's not the most important for you probably, but the security. And people just don't know what is safe. So all those procedures and documentation is also important. Of course, well, the people will probably not read that. And that's because that's the reason the training is also important. Well, you can have this presentation and also presentation about user monitoring. We can send you that, or you can contact Baltimax, our partner in Vilnius. They can also send you that. So I will not be going through that. It's just an example of documentation you should create with all the regulations, security rules, and so on. And that's very important. So I think I have just 1 minute left. So let me also go through the tool, which we are producers of Axence and Vision, and that tool can help you to fulfill all those things. Yeah. So just for the end, let me go through what we are doing and how that can help you in improving your security. So as you may see, there probably you know there are so many problems with everyday tasks if you are in IT department. It's a problem of size of the IT infrastructure, cost of software, user are cyber slacking, downloading illegal things, and of course security. For example, copying company files to pen drives. And well, we have a solution, technical solution for that. And as I said, it's not enough to have a technical solution, but you need one. And then you need to do also trainings. So what's inside of Axence and Vision? There is network monitoring, and that's actually free part. So you can have complex network infrastructure monitoring, routers, printers, switches, servers, services, and so on. And then you get a notification when something is broken. For example, if your web server is not working, you will get a notification. Or for example, if you would like to protect a server room, we have also a hardware solution, or you can buy your own because it's based on SNMP, and you can check for flood, fire, broken air condition in server room. So it's also a security, as you may see, but from other side. But firewall will not help you to see if there is a fire in server room, right? You need something else. With user monitoring, of course, you can also have some work efficiency savings, but the most important things are security, and something I didn't tell you before, there are savings on software. That's just one example. One of our customers could save $10,000 within 3 days after installing Envision because they wanted to buy 2 licenses of AutoCAD. It's quite expensive. They did analysis of software usage with Envision, and they just realized that they don't need these licenses, new licenses. They just moved 2 licenses from computers where those programs has not been used. Because you probably know that everyone wants Microsoft Office, right? And then when you analyze that, you will see that actually they use that for maybe 5 minutes a week. And do you really want to pay a few hundred of euros for 5 minutes? Probably not. In Envision, there is a protection of company files, so you can manage all those hard drives, cell phones, memory cards, pen drives, and so on. And the way users can access them without blocking those ports. So if you would like to attach mouse, keyboard, or that device, that will not be a problem. But if you would connect pen drive, then it will be protected. And of course, there is a full web-based help desk solution and remote access to all computers. And as I said, there is a network is also free. Okay, thank you.